All right, today we're diving into a little book with a huge idea. It's James Allen's As a Man Thinketh, and its core message is pretty radical. It's not just that your thoughts influence your reality, it's that they actually create it. So let's see what that really means.
Right from the get-go, Allen hits us with this powerful poem. The main idea here is that your mind is the boss, the master power, and the tool it uses? Your thoughts. With that one tool, you can either build an incredible life full of joy, or you can build a world of misery. Think about that for a second. That's a ton of responsibility, resting entirely on how we think.
And get this isn't some new age idea from the last decade. This book first came out way back in 1903. I mean, for a concept to stick around and still feel relevant for over 100 years, you know it's gotta have some serious, universal truth to it.
So, that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? What does it actually mean to be the master of your own mind, instead of letting it master you? Let's dig into what Allen has to say about that.
Okay, first up, let's explore this core concept, the mind as the master power. Allen uses this really cool metaphor of a master weaver. He suggests our mind is constantly crafting two things at the same time, the fabric of our character on the inside and the fabric of our life circumstances on the outside.
The entire book really hinges on this one powerful line, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, Allen's take on this is super direct, no wiggle room. He's saying you are, quite literally, the sum total of all your thoughts. Your character isn't an accident. It's built, thought by thought.
And here's a really important distinction Allen makes. We're always the master of our mind. There's no escaping that. The real question is, are we a foolish master or a wise one? The foolish master just lets their mind run wild, and they end up feeling like a victim of life. But the wise master, they actively direct their thoughts with intelligence, and they become the conscious shaper of their own destiny.
So what's the bottom line here? It's that personal responsibility is everything. He says your mind is like an armory, and every single day you're in there forging something. You're either making weapons that are going to destroy you, or you're building the tools to create a beautiful, joyful life. And that choice, well, that choice is all yours.
Okay, so if we're the ones responsible for forging our own reality, how in the world do we actually do that? Well, Allen gives us this amazing and super practical metaphor to help us get it: the garden of your mind.
The analogy is really simple but so powerful. Your mind? It's a garden. You can tend to it, cultivate it, and make it beautiful. Or you can just let it go wild. But here's the kicker. It's never empty. It is always going to produce something. The only question is, will it be gorgeous flowers or just a tangled mess of useless weeds?
So that makes you ask, right? What are you planting in your garden? Are you intentionally planting these useful seeds, these positive, productive thoughts? Or are you kind of just letting the wind blow in whatever useless weed seeds happen to float by? Things like worry and doubt, because if you let them, those weeds will absolutely take over and choke out all the good stuff.
And this is just a perfect illustration of cause and effect in action. It's a super clear three-step process. First, you have the seed. That's just a thought. If you water that seed, it eventually blossoms into an action. And that action, well, it always bears fruit. And that fruit is what we call our circumstances.
Okay, so now that we've seen how a tiny thought seed can grow into the fruit of our life, let's look at the direct result of that. How does this inner world of ours actually shape the outer world we live in every single day?
Now, this next idea from Allen, it's a tough one to swallow. Most of us, right, we blame our circumstances for how we feel. I'm stressed because of my job. But Allen just flips that script completely. He says your circumstances don't make you who you are, they just reveal who you already are. It's like a giant mirror showing you exactly what's going on inside.
And he gives some really clear examples of how we totally get in our own way. You know, you have a guy who says he wants to get out of poverty, but all day his thoughts are about shirking his work or cutting corners. Or someone who desperately wants to be healthy, but can't stop thinking about junk food. In every case, their internal thought habits are at war with their external goals.
And this all leads to a really blunt, kind of harsh truth. We all say we want better circumstances, right? But are we willing to do the inner work to improve ourselves? It's like we want the beautiful harvest without ever getting our hands dirty in the garden. And Allen's point is, as long as we refuse to work on ourselves, on our thoughts, we're just going to stay stuck.
So, if the big problem is self-sabotage, what's the fix? Well, that brings us to our next big idea, the power of purpose.
According to Alan, this is the secret sauce. This is what turns you from someone just drifting through life into someone who's actively creating it.
And again, Alan doesn't pull any punches here. He calls aimlessness a vice. A vice. Why? Because without a goal, without a central purpose, our mind just floats. It's like a ship without a rudder, just getting tossed around by every little wave of worry or fear or self-pity.
So how do we get that focus? Alan actually gives us a roadmap. He calls it the royal road to self-control. Step 1, figure out a real purpose. Step 2, make that purpose the main thing you think about. It becomes your focus point. Step 3, commit to it, like make it your #1 duty. And finally, step 4, and this one's a biggie, you have to kick out doubt and fear. He says they're like acid. They just eat away at all your progress.
All right, we've made it to our final section. After all this hard work, tending the garden, finding a purpose, focusing our thoughts, what's the big payoff? What's the ultimate harvest? Well, it's 2 things, peace and serenity.
And for Alan, serenity is way more than just not being stressed out. He calls it the beautiful jewel of wisdom. It's not something you just stumble into, it's something you earn through long, patient effort and self-control. So when you meet someone who's genuinely calm and serene, what you're really seeing is someone who has mastered the laws of their own mind.
I love this quote. Calmness is power. It's so counterintuitive, right? We usually think of power as being loud, aggressive, always busy. Alan says, no way. Real power is having a mind that's so well governed, so focused, that you can stay calm no matter what's going on around you. That is the ultimate strength.
And this inner calm creates real, tangible results on the outside. The calm person, they're in control of themselves. They can adapt to other people. People respect them, not because they're intimidating, but because of their inner strength. And what happens? Success and influence just seem to find them. They become that person everyone turns to in a crisis, a sheltering rock in a storm. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? That's the real harvest you get from tending the garden of your mind.
So, Alan leaves us with this one last really piercing question. He says that commanding master, that true, powerful you, is already inside. It's not something you have to go out and find. It's just sleeping. And so the only real question left is, are you going to wake him up?